Okay, I want you to think about someone you know in real life or someone you've seen give a talk, a presentation, anything, who just sounds confident. Like the moment they open their mouth, you believe them,
I know exactly the type.
right? And here's what's interesting. I used to think those people were confident because they knew more than everyone else. Like the knowledge came first and the confidence followed.
And then?
And then I became a teacher, and I watched hundreds of students who knew everything, grammar, vocabulary, all of it, and still froze the moment they had to actually speak. And I watched other students who knew maybe half as much make mistakes constantly and somehow just hold the room.
The knowledge doesn't make the confidence.
The knowledge does not make the confidence. And that, right there, is what today's episode is about. Welcome to Vicky's English Podcast. I'm Vicky.
And I'm Jeffrey. We do the talking, you pick up the English. Best deal going.
But before we start, everyone, please remember to subscribe to our channel.
Yes, and click the like button and please share our podcast with your friends and family. It helps us a lot.
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions in language learning, honestly. The idea that you need to reach some level of fluency before you're allowed to sound confident.
Like, confidence is a reward you get at the end.
Exactly. Once my English is perfect, then I'll speak up. But that day never comes, does it?
Never. And here's the thing. Confidence isn't something you feel first and then perform. It's something you perform first and then start to feel. The action comes before the emotion.
Which sounds backwards, but it really isn't.
It really isn't. So today, we're talking about the specific, practical things you can do with your voice, your phrasing, your pacing, to sound more confident in English, even on the days when you absolutely do not feel it.
And I'll say up front, these are not tricks. They're habits. The same habits that genuinely confident English speakers use, usually without even knowing it.
Right. We're just going to make them visible, so you can use them consciously until they become automatic.
Okay, so where do we start? Because I feel like this topic has about 15 different entry points.
Let's start with the one I think makes the biggest immediate difference: pace.
How fast you speak?
How fast you speak, and specifically, slowing down. Because I cannot tell you how many students I've had who rush. They speak as fast as they possibly can because they're scared that if they pause, someone will interrupt them, or they'll forget what they were going to say, or people will think their English is bad.
And the rushing actually makes the English harder to understand.
It makes everything worse. The rushing creates more mistakes, less clarity, and crucially, it signals nervousness. When someone speaks really fast and stumbles through their words, even if the content is brilliant, it reads as unconfident.
Whereas a person who speaks slowly and deliberately
Sounds authoritative. Sounds like they know what they're talking about, even if what they're actually doing is buying themselves time to find the next word.
buying yourself time. Let's flag that one. It's such a useful concept. You're not pausing because you don't know what to say. You're pausing because you're choosing your words carefully. And that reframe changes everything.
Completely changes everything. And there are phrases that help you do this naturally. That's a great question. One of my absolute favorites.
Oh, the classic stall phrase.
It sounds like a stall, but actually it's doing several things at once. It validates the person who asked, it signals that you're taking them seriously, and it gives you 3 full seconds to gather your thoughts. 3 seconds is a long time when you need it.
I've used that phrase in sales meetings more times than I can count, honestly.
See, and this is exactly what I mean. That's a great question, works in a job interview, a business meeting, a casual conversation, anywhere. It's not a trick. It's just a natural, socially useful phrase that confident people use all the time.
Another good one? Let me think about that for a second.
Oh, that one's underrated. Students always feel like asking for a moment to think is admitting weakness. but actually...
It's the opposite. It shows you care about giving a good answer.
Exactly. A person who immediately fires back an answer to every question can actually seem less thoughtful, not more. Taking a second says, I'm not just reacting, I'm considering.
Can I tell you about the most confident person I've ever met in a professional setting? Because I think it perfectly illustrates what we're talking about.
Yes, go.
So I'm in a sales training. This was back when I was still in corporate. And there's this woman presenting to about 40 people, senior people, a lot of big personalities in the room. And someone asks her a question that's clearly meant to be a bit of a gotcha, like a tricky technical question designed to trip her up.
Oh, those questions. The ones where you can feel the room shift.
Right? And she just stopped. Full silence for probably 4 or 5 seconds, which felt like an eternity.
4 seconds of silence in front of 40 people.
And then she said very calmly, "That's actually more complicated than it sounds. Here's how I think about it." And then she gave this clear, well-structured answer. And the person who asked the question just nodded, completely disarmed.
Because the pause read as confidence, not uncertainty.
She owned the silence. She didn't fill it with and She just sat in it, thought, and answered. And I've never forgotten that.
Okay, own it. Let's flag that. Own it. To fully embrace something instead of being ashamed of it. She owned the silence. And for English learners, this applies directly. If you make a mistake, don't crumble. Don't apologize 3 times. Don't go red and stop talking. Own it. Correct it briefly and keep going.
What I mean is, great phrase for this.
Oh, perfect example. What I mean is a natural, confident way to rephrase something. Native speakers use it constantly, not just when they make mistakes, just when they want to be clearer. So when a learner uses it, it doesn't flag an error. It sounds like they're communicating thoughtfully.
Versus, sorry, my English is bad.
Which makes everyone in the conversation uncomfortable. You're drawing attention to the mistake in a way that's actually more disruptive than the mistake itself.
Now, here's where I want to push back slightly, because I think there's a version of fake confidence that can actually backfire.
Okay, tell me.
So I've seen learners who've been told, just project confidence, speak up, don't hesitate, and they overcorrect. They barrel through conversations without pausing, they talk over people, they don't listen, because they've confused confidence with dominance.
That's a really important distinction.
True confidence, in my experience, both in sales and in teaching, is actually quite still. It doesn't need to fill every silence. It doesn't need to interrupt. It listens as much as it speaks.
I think you're completely right about that. Confidence isn't volume, it isn't speed. It's, what's the word? Conviction. Speaking with conviction. You can say something quietly and slowly and still completely command a room.
Conviction. That's a great one to flag. Conviction means you genuinely believe what you're saying. And it comes through in your voice even when the words are simple. You can say, I think this is important, with total conviction. And it lands harder than a complicated sentence said with no belief behind it.
And for English learners, this is actually great news, because conviction doesn't require advanced vocabulary. You don't need complicated words to sound confident. You need clarity and belief.
Simple English said confidently beats complex English said nervously every time.
Every single time. Okay, can we talk about the voice habits that quietly kill confidence? Because there are a few specific things I notice constantly.
Go on.
The first one, trailing off. When your sentences just fade out at the end. Like you're not sure if you're done or not.
You know what I mean?
Exactly that. Where the sentence ends, but your voice doesn't commit to ending it. It makes your point sound unfinished. It sounds like you're asking for permission to have an opinion.
Versus ending a sentence like you mean it.
Right. Finish your sentences. Let them land. A sentence that ends with energy carries authority. A sentence that trails off disappears.
The second one, and this is so common with English learners specifically, uptalk.
Oh, uptalk.
For anyone who doesn't know the word, uptalk is when your voice goes up at the end of a statement, like you're asking a question, even when you're not.
So instead of, I work in marketing, I work in marketing?
Like you're not sure if you work in marketing?
Right. And it's not just learners. Uptalk is extremely common in American English, actually, especially among younger speakers.
It's creeping into British English too, much to my personal distress.
Is it? But the point is, when uptalk is heavy and constant, it undermines everything you say. Even perfectly correct, well-chosen English sounds uncertain if every sentence ends like a question.
The fix is simple in theory, harder in practice. Just consciously let your voice drop at the end of statements. Down means done. Down means certain.
And the third one I want to mention, filler words. Like, kind of, sort of, the sounds we make when we're thinking.
Every language has them.
Every language has them. And a few fillers are completely fine. They're human. They're natural. But when filler words appear in every sentence, they crowd out the actual content and make the speaker sound unsure of everything they're saying.
The trick I always gave my students was replace the filler with silence. Don't fill the gap with Just stop, breathe, and then speak.
Which brings us back to pace. Silence is not the enemy. Silence is actually a power move when you use it deliberately.
Comfortable with silence? That's probably the single biggest marker of confident speech I can think of.
Can we do the vocabulary gap problem? Because I think this is the most specific anxiety for English learners.
The moment you're talking and you hit a word you don't know.
Right. You're mid-sentence, everything is going well, and suddenly the word is gone. You can see the concept. You know what you want to say, but the English word is just not there.
And most learners either freeze completely or abandon the whole sentence.
Both of which are disasters. So here's what I teach. Bridge phrases. Phrases that keep you talking while your brain catches up. I'm not sure of the exact word, but huge one. You've just told the listener, I'm aware of my limitation. Here comes the meaning anyway.
What I'm trying to say is another good one.
It's kind of like when you can describe instead of name.
The thing that, when you need to describe a concept instead of label it.
And honestly, these phrases are things native speakers use all the time too, not just learners. Because sometimes the exact word slips away from everyone. The confident move is always to keep talking, not to stop.
If I'm honest, I think the gap between confident learners and unconfident ones often has nothing to do with their English level.
Oh, completely.
I've taught C1 learners who could barely order a coffee without apologizing for their English. And I've taught B1 learners who could walk into a boardroom and hold a meeting, mistakes and all, because they just believed they could communicate.
Belief is a skill. And like every skill, it can be practiced.
Okay, let's make this practical. Let's do a scene. The most terrifying English scenario I can think of.
Oh no, what is it?
You're at a work event, you don't know anyone, someone walks up to you and says, "So, what do you think about topic you know nothing about?"
The worst. Okay, wrong version first. Ready?
Go.
Yes, I think it is, sorry, my English is not so good for this topic.
Painful. See what happened? The filler words, the trailing off, the apology for her English. Even if everything she said was grammatically correct, the delivery signals uncertainty from the first syllable.
Now, right version. Same situation.
So, what do you think about the new marketing strategy?
That's a great question, actually.
Let me think about it for a second. If I'm honest, I think the direction is interesting, but the timing feels a bit off to me. What's your take on it?
See the difference? She used "that's a great question" to buy time. "If I'm honest," to frame a confident opinion. Ended with a question back to him, which is a power move, by the way, because now he's answering instead of evaluating her English.
And notice I said the timing feels a bit off to me. I didn't need specific technical knowledge. I just gave a confident, clear, personal opinion. And I owned it.
Let's do one more, the vocabulary gap scenario.
Okay. Jeffrey, tell me about a topic I definitely don't have all the vocabulary for. Make it specific.
Tell me what you think about the recent changes to urban infrastructure planning in mid-sized cities.
Perfect. Okay, right version. Honestly, I find this really interesting. I'm not sure of the exact terms, but the way I see it, cities that size have this problem where they grow faster than their systems can keep up with. It's kind of like trying to upgrade an airplane while it's already flying.
See?
She didn't know infrastructure planning vocabulary. Didn't matter. She described the concept clearly, used a great analogy, and delivered it with total conviction. Nobody in that conversation is thinking about her English level. They're thinking about airplanes being upgraded mid-flight.
The analogy trick is one of my absolute favorites, by the way. When you don't have the exact word, describe it. Compare it to something. Paint a picture. Native speakers love a good analogy. It sounds creative, not limited.
To put it simply, and that's another one to flag, to put it simply, confidence is a performance before it's a feeling. You practice the habits become natural, and somewhere along the way, the feeling catches up.
And the habits are learnable. That's the whole point. This isn't personality. It's not something you're born with. It's pace, it's phrasing, it's finishing your sentences. It's sitting comfortably in silence. All learnable. All practicable today.
Okay. What are we taking away from this one?
Slow down. Seriously, slower than you think is too slow? That's probably about right.
Replace filler words with silence. The pause is not your enemy.
When you hit a vocabulary gap, keep talking. Describe it, compare it, work around it. Don't stop.
And end your sentences like you mean them. No trailing off, no uptalk. Down means done.
And the biggest one, confidence comes before the feeling. You perform it first. The feeling follows. Fake it, as they say, till you make it. Except it's not really faking. It's practicing.
Until the practice becomes real.
Until the practice becomes real. Here's your challenge this week. Pick one habit from today. Just one. Slow pace, silence instead of finishing your sentences strongly. Pick one and practice it in every English conversation you have this week. Just one. See what changes.
And come back and tell us how it went. Drop it in the comments. We read them.
If this episode helped you, share it with one person who struggles with English confidence. One share genuinely makes a difference to this podcast.
Subscribe if you haven't. New episodes every week, and they only get better.
Talk to you next time.
See you then.